letting go of anger and resentment, a path to inner peace. Letting go of anger and resentment is often far more challenging than we expect. Many people may advise us to simply move on, forget about it, or let it go. But for those who have experienced deep emotional pain, these words can feel hollow. The reality is that anger and resentment linger, no matter how much we try to suppress them. They take up space in our minds, affect our emotional well-being, and sometimes even consume us entirely. We often hold on to anger because, in some way, we believe it gives us control. We feel that by staying angry, we are standing up for ourselves, protecting our dignity, or making sure that the person who hurt us does not go unpunished in our minds. But in truth, anger controls us more than we control it. It drains our energy, poisons our peace, and keeps us trapped in the past. If we genuinely desire peace and healing, we need to reframe our perspective on anger. We need to understand that letting go is not about excusing someone's behavior or pretending the pain never existed. It is about freeing ourselves from the emotional burden that resentment creates. And one of the most profound ways to do this is through the wisdom of karma concept that has been taught in Buddhism for centuries. Understanding the ownership of actions. In Buddhist philosophy, one of the most powerful teachings is the idea that every person is responsible for their own actions and will inevitably face the consequences of those actions. Buddha teaches that every person is the owner of their actions, the heir to their actions. Their actions are their protection and their burden. Whatever they do, good or bad, they will experience the results of those actions. This means that when someone harms us, whether through words, actions, or betrayals, they are not escaping responsibility. Their karma will unfold in due time. Every intentional action we take leaves an imprint on our future, shaping the experiences that come our way. This also means that when we hold on to anger and resentment, we are creating our own karma, not theirs. When someone is rude, unkind, or deliberately tries to hurt us, they are generating negative energy for themselves. But when we respond with hatred, grudges, or a desire for revenge, we are also accumulating negativity. So the real question becomes, do we really want to add negativity to our own lives because of someone else's actions? Do we want to carry their burden, or do we want to protect our inner peace? This shift in thinking can be liberating. It teaches us that our peace of mind is in our own hands, not in the hands of those who wrong us. The analogy of shadows and light. To understand this more clearly, imagine standing in a dark room, holding a small candle. As soon as the candle is lit, the darkness begins to fade. But at the same time, shadows appear on the walls. These shadows may look large and intimidating, but they are not real. They are simply a result of the light. Now, think of those shadows as anger, resentment, and negativity. The more we focus on them, the more overwhelming they seem. We see them growing, moving, surrounding us, and they begin to feel inescapable. But what happens when we shift our attention to the candle's flame instead? The shadows lose their power. In the same way, when we shift our perspective away from anger and toward understanding, self-awareness, and peace, we reclaim our inner strength. The negative actions of others do not define us, but how we respond to them does. Holding on to anger. Who suffers first? There is an old Buddhist analogy that beautifully explains the impact of holding on to anger. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. But in the end, you are the one who gets burned first. Take a moment to reflect on this. Imagine holding a burning piece of coal in your hand. Your fingers are scorching and you feel intense pain. But instead of dropping it, you hold onto it tightly, convinced that the longer you hold it, the more justified you are in throwing it at the person who wronged you. But before you even get the chance to throw it, you are already burned. This is exactly what happens when we hold on to anger and resentment. The first person to suffer is always us. When we replay hurtful situations in our minds, when we dwell on how unfairly we were treated, when we refuse to forgive, we are not punishing the other person. We are punishing ourselves. So, why do we hold on to something that only causes us pain? Why allow someone else's actions to take away our happiness? The moment we choose to drop the hot coal, we choose freedom. How to let go of anger. A practical guide. Now, knowing all of this, how do we actually let go of anger and resentment? Here are 3 steps that can help you break free. 110. Pause before reacting. When you feel anger rising, don't react immediately. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, their actions belong to them. My reaction belongs to me. Giving yourself a few seconds to process your emotions can prevent you from saying or doing something you may later regret. 2. Choose your response wisely. If someone is being rude or unfair, recognize that they are creating their own negativity. Instead of reacting with anger, respond with patience, wisdom, and understanding. Ask yourself, do I want to mirror their negativity, or do I want to rise above it? 3. Shift your focus from the shadows to the light. Instead of replaying the painful situation in your mind, redirect your energy to things that bring you peace. Engage in meditation, journaling, or acts of kindness to cultivate positive energy. Remind yourself, the best way to heal is to create peace within myself. Final takeaway: reclaim your peace. If there is one thing to remember, it is this: people's actions are their karma. Your response is your karma. You do not have to hold on to their negativity. You do not have to let their actions control your emotions. Instead, choose to rise above it. Choose to protect your inner peace. At the end of the day, letting go is not about them, it is about you. May you always find peace. May you always choose wisdom over anger. May you always remember, the light within you is always stronger than the shadows around you. By making this choice, you create a life filled with peace, clarity, and true emotional freedom. Conclusion: letting go of anger is a journey. It takes time, effort, and practice. But once you start applying these principles, you will begin to notice a deep sense of relief. Resentment will no longer have the power to disturb your peace, and in its place, you will find clarity, wisdom, and emotional strength. You deserve a life free from the burden of anger. So today, make the choice. Release, heal, move forward. May you be happy. May you be at peace.